We're here to discuss your debut album, which is out and about, The Family Jewels. Congratulations, you must be very proud and pleased and relieved that it's out.
Yes, I am. I'm excited to see what people think of it.
It's a fantastic album. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You must be very pleased, proud, and I guess nervous that the album is now going to be unleashed on the whole wide world.
Yes, I am nervous because now I'm like, drat, I've exposed everything about myself. Why was I so open? So I'm not nervous in a sense of will it do well or not, because the thing is I've done it now. I've created an album that I wanted to create many moons ago, and it's out of my control. But I am very frightened that people will know who I am now.
If you had to use like one word to describe The Family Jewels, and you must have thought about this, what would it be?
I would say it's an experimental pop album which is inspired by modern values, by society. Some of it is social commentary, most of it is about my own experiences as a female in pop music, and about experiences in life in general.
Wow, more than one word, but I like the description very much. I mean,
sorry, I don't do one word.
No, obviously, no, that's a good thing for an interview. It would be very boring if you were monosyllabic.
Yeah.
You'd be getting nowhere. We are going to discuss every track on The Family Jewels in depth, Marina. I want you to take on everything. So people will be hearing them and kind of getting to terms with them and thinking what the lyrics and the song's meaning are themselves. But we want your take on every track as well, because you wrote them. We're going to start with Are You Satisfied? Which, to open up an album, I think it's quite a brave move as well, because it questions everything, doesn't it? Are you satisfied?
Yes, well, I decided to have it as my first song on my album because it gives insight into why I decided to do this whole thing, and it's because I never feel satisfied or that happy, or I didn't at the time, and I was interested in why I wanted to do this, because I love music and I want to be a great singer and musician and performer, because I feel like it's my calling and that it's natural to me. But as I've said before, you don't just wake up wanting to be famous. And even though I critique celebrity culture a lot, and it's what is one of the main themes in my album lyrically, I'm interested in why I am drawn to it and why I wanted to get into this business if I'm so against it.
It's that theme of escaping as well, isn't it? Isn't that what the X Factor and all those talent shows do as well, though? Is that kind of pluck people out from their mundane everyday existence and make them famous? But what you have always been after is something totally different to that, isn't it? It's a more rewarding kind of thing. It's
not just about fame, it's about being who you want to be without listening to the people who tell you, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. You're the only person who truly knows what will make you happy in life, and I suppose this song is, its purpose is to challenge people or to give people courage to do what they want. Because do you want an average life? No, I don't. I never did, and hopefully I won't have one. So I suppose at the time I was living a very average life though, and I felt dissatisfied, and that's why the song came out.
Sounds brilliant. Champagne, big, stomping beat to it, and amazing production as well. Can you tell us a bit about that song? It's not your average champagne, it's champagne with an SH, isn't it?
Yes, and it's the depressing side of getting drunk,
right.
The kind of obliteration side of having a good time. This was actually the first co-write that I ever did. I've done 4 co-writes on the album, and it was good to write a simpler pop song, because when I write on my own, the melodies are kind of all over the place. So it was good just to do something a little bit lighter, and this probably is my lightest track on a record. But yeah, it's just about insomnia really, and the joys of champagne.
Obviously talking from experience there, have you had too many a good night out in the past? And is that something that, you know, do you enjoy those nights out, or are they just there to be done again?
Yes, I do, but I don't do them very often, and I feel I could probably be on my own in a room and not mind for about 2 weeks, and then I'd need to speak to someone. So I do like being on my own, but going out once in a while is fun.
When you're talking about co-writing, how does that come about, and what's that experience like? Because obviously your songs are very personal and very private, so to go into a studio and write with somebody,
well, it's kind of like, I hate it, so I do it because it's really challenging for me. And as soon as I do it, I'm really pleased that I have, and I've had the pleasure of working with 3 great people. So it's good practice as a songwriter, and that's how I see it. And the people I work with are incredibly successful and experienced, and I think that I can learn a lot from them. So yeah, Champagne was written with Pascal Gabriel and Liam Howe, and we just had loads of fun doing it.
Because you've worked with Liam Howe, the producer, a number of times before, and he's a respected producer, isn't he?
Yeah, he did like 75% of the album.
Okay. Producing?
Yes, producing.
And Pascal Gabriel?
And Pascal did 3 tracks, co-produced 2 with Liam, and we all wrote those together. It was really good.
Does that take a long time, co-writing a track together?
No, like if I'm writing a track on my own, it'll either take 10 minutes or at least 10 days. With them, it's like, put it down in about a day, 2 days.
You've been acting awful tough lately, smoking a lot of cigarettes lately, but inside, it's just a little baby.
Which leads us on to track number 3 on the Family Jewels, Marina. Track number 3, I Am Not a Robot, which of course the Diamonds, all your fans, used to. They're hearing you play it live over the years. To a lot of people it's going to be a new song. Amazing video for this song as well.
Thank you.
I'm Not a Robot. Can you tell us a bit about this tune?
On a very general level, it's about being numb or emotionally detached, and kind of, it's just a reaction to that, to feeling that way for a very long period of time. And again, I do think it's a song particularly aimed at my generation because of the way that modern life dictates our lifestyles, because, you know, technology is present in everyday life. We can't live without it, and I do feel that's really bad for human interaction. I feel like it's unhealthy, and I know it's a cliched way to state my opinions, but that's how I feel, and I don't like it at all. So.
But you're one of the most prolific tweeters I know.
Well, I'm not that tweety.
I
used to be, yeah, I do.
Sometimes it's like Marina's tweeting
week.
every 2 minutes, and then it'll be a month or so. Do you notice that you back?
That's just my personality. I'm really black and white. It's all or nothing here. So, yeah. For me though, my blog and Twitter are just a way to communicate with fans, and it's very. Oh, I feel really torn sometimes.
What, between whether you should be doing it or not?
Yeah, I do every single day, and it's ridiculous.
But is that song only about that? Because
no.
Or is it's about relationships in the past as well, right?
Not really, no. It's just like how I feel. Hardly any of my songs are about love. I think about 2, Obsessions and Home at the Frog, and that's it. It's not really that inspired by love yet.
Some brilliant remixes done of I Am Not a Robot as well. Are they all chosen by yourself, you know, the remixes? Do you like them all? Is there one in particular that stands out?
Yeah, I approve all of the remixes. I don't commission them, but I really have enjoyed some of them, particularly for Robot. One by Star Smith, one by The Aspirins for My Children.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was really good. And there was another by Clock Opera, so those are my 3 favourite ones.
Do you dance around your bedroom to your own songs, or do they have to be remixes? I mean, do you know what I mean? Because the remixes proper, you know, beat them up, don't they? It's like proper danceability levels, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Sound good.
I don't dance around the bedroom, but I might have a bit of a foot pump.
I Am Not a Robot, I've seen you've been playing that live as well on stage. Is there a particular song or a few tracks maybe on the album that you enjoy playing more than others live?
Robots, definitely. Mowgli's Road.
Yeah.
And Hollywood, probably now.
Hollywood. We're going to come to Hollywood a little bit later on.
Okay.
It's one of the, the big single, the first single off the album that everybody knows. But the next track on the album is Girls. Girls picks up on a few things. You talk about kind of the image of females in that song. And is that something that you feel very strongly about? You know, there's talk of, you know, never looking a day over 30 and you know, act like a woman but feel like a man, that kind of thing, think like a man.
Yeah.
Is that idea of kind of different sexes?
It's strange because I don't feel that passionate about the song anymore because I'm past those issues. However, I think it's a really relevant song for me, and I think it's the only one of my songs that's a very on-trend song because it's basically social commentary, and it's about the attitudes of women towards other women, and how we complain about, you know, equality and sexism when really women are like the female chauvinist pigs more than men are male chauvinist pigs, in my experience anyway. And I just, at the time, I really was getting sick of how the media just picked apart female celebrities, and I thought it's really sad and unhealthy, and not contributing anything positive towards the world. And I suppose it's kind of a call to arms for other females to stick together a bit, because no one wants to be a feminist anymore, because it's sad, and I'm against that. Why wouldn't I want to be a feminist?
Have you had difficulties being a female songwriter within the music industry, kind of starting off? Has it ever been a hindrance, or have you never found any difficulties?
It's not a hindrance unless you let it be, but there's definitely a trend or a pattern I see of wanting to sex everything up. And, you know, pop music has a lot of sex in it, and that's fine, but I don't want a main part of my identity to be about sex, and I suppose that's another thing that I'm rallying against in that song.
Always talk about different female singer-songwriters all coming through at the same time.
Yeah.
And have you found any competition between other female singer-songwriters, or have you felt like part of a gang maybe?
No, neither. I felt very kind of not oblivious to it, but indifferent to it, because some of the females who are out, I'm a huge fan of, but I just see them as artists, and I would be doing exactly the same thing, writing exactly the same songs regardless. And you know, there are a lot of females about, but we also had, you know, 7-8 years of indie guitar bands, so it's just a natural reaction to that, I think. I
like it on the album as well that you have a go at journalists, and specifically like tabloid journalists, and that fits into that kind of almost feminism stance that you touched upon. Is that something that properly riles you?
I get the whole gossip magazine thing. It's again just a reaction to us being painted this image of perfection and glossy glamour, blah blah blah, boringness, which no one really wants. They don't want to be told that your life's going to be better and you're going to be happy if you look like this. Everyone knows that's rubbish, and so that's why we're like obsessed with imperfection and flaws, and that's why gossip magazines thrive. So I'm still against them, and I won't buy them, I won't support them, but I hope that the journalists know that I'm not against them per se, but I'm against the whole concept of it, and I don't wish to live my life by a gossip magazine.
And you've got it down on song.
I've got it down on song. There's no going back here.
No, you've said it now, Marina. We're on to the next track on the album, which is Mowgli's Road.
Yes.
I love Mowgli's Road. Woohoo! Now, how do you do it? Woohoo! Cuckoo! Cuckoo! It's a brilliant way to start a song, isn't it? cuckoo.
Yeah.
It kind of sets the precedent for the rest of the 3.5 minutes of the tune, however long it is.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it is?
3 minutes exactly.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Perfect 3-minute pop song.
Yeah.
Tell us about Mowgli's Road. When did you come up with cuckoo? Did you do a little cuckoo pop?
No, it was just really instinctive. We were in the studio and I'd written about half the song at home and I was having some trouble with some bits, and then a bit of the chorus was like, and I don't know. It sounded like Jungle Book and a bit Disney-ish, and so I just went cuckoo, and it stuck. And that's how I started to build the song. And I'm glad that I did, because it was a lot of fun. It was at a time when I was feeling a bit stressed because I was trying to get signed and was meeting a lot of different labels.
Was writing it kind of a release, kind of cathartic experience? Kind of getting away from it all?
Yes, because I was just experimenting. And I think with all songwriting, I never want to just recreate the same album 6 times. Each album I do want to go in a totally different direction, not just for the sake of it, but because I am a versatile writer and I get bored very quickly, and so I like to experiment. Yeah.
There's lots of different styles on the first album.
Yeah, there are.
I mean, Mowgli's Road is totally different to, something like I Am Not a Robot or No, which is another new track.
Yeah.
And we can hear a bit of Mowgli's Road. The video for this is pretty spectacular as well. Can you tell us a bit about the video?
The video was directed by Chris Sweeney, and it involves me having 2 concertina paper arms and legs. So like if I fling out an arm, it goes 5 meters and grabs on a mic stand. It's quite abstract, which is what I wanted because I think people were just expecting me to be in a jungle.
Tell us about Obsessions, because it's a different song to Mowgli's Road, isn't it?
Yeah, sonically it's very bare and exposed. It was my first little single.
It's a sad song and a dark song as well, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose so. It's about a relationship. But as with every song, it's about 2 or 3 different stories and themes.
It's another one that you sing live as well. Is it difficult singing such a personal song in a live environment when you've got thousands of people watching you?
No, I've kind of become numb to it. And also if people know it as well and they're singing along, kind of makes it easier.
What the obsessions that you talk about in the song? I mean, every relationship has got different, people have got different obsessions, haven't they? Different, quirks and traits.
Yes.
In a relationship. So are you saying that it's up to the diamonds to kind of figure out what those obsessions are?
Absolutely. Everyone does have obsessions, and that's why I think people related to the song very early on.
When the first single off the album, off the Family Jewels, came out, I was expecting it to be Mowgli's Road, but it was Hollywood, which is a new song, one of the newer songs on the album, the single that everybody will have heard by now, of course.
Yes.
Hollywood's amazing, the video's incredible, the song, it's about, simply your obsession with the United States of America.
I mean, it's not even that cynical or ironic. It's actually just true. Yeah. I am obsessed with America. Like, people think I'm being really snide or snarky, but I'm really not. I've been obsessed with American culture since I was about 13. Half of it is about very cliche themes such as celebrity culture and commercialism, but that comes from the fact that I wrote it when I was 21, like 2.5 years ago, and I wasn't signed. I was like broke, pretty depressed, living in Turnpike Lane in London, and I had nothing. I was the opposite of an American dream, and so for me to write that song, it was very ha-ha at the time. But yeah,
a mess with America, and it
yeah.
was during, I guess, but you wrote it during the war and when it was before Barack Obama was in during the Bush years.
Well,
is it the mess you talk about America? Is that a political thing or?
I think maybe on a subconscious level, but at the time it wasn't a politically charged statement. However, you know, like many other countries, I'm against the system in America and not American people. I love American people dearly, as I love Polish people. You know, all these kind of things in the song are just about a story or experiences that have happened to me. And so I hope people understand that. And it's one of my favourite songs off the album.
Have the American, your American fan base reacted to it?
Yeah, most people get it. Like, people just think there's so much irony in there, and there is none. Oh dear.
Is going to America and cracking the States something that appeals?
It's a big priority for me. Just because if I didn't feel that Americans connected with my music, or that I didn't have a chance of being successful, that I wouldn't even bother to embarrass myself by saying this, but I really hope that I am, because I love the country and I want to explore more and go into kind of middle America and tour there. I'm not interested in the glam states.
Do you want to see the real America?
Yeah, I do.
And did the now infamous line from the song, "Oh my gosh, you look just like Shakira," no, Catherine Zeta, actually my name's Marina.
Yeah.
Did that conversation actually take place?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Not real?
At the time,
in that order?
Yeah.
Did it rhyme?
Well, no.
Thought it was too good.
My hair was long and I had it like blonde at the time, so that's the Shakira thing. And I always got the Catherine Zeta comments, and both are very flattering, but again, it's like when you're a female musician, you have to be compared to other people. You can't just be your own person.
That's a Welsh thing as well, isn't it, with Catherine Zeta?
It is.
They knew what they were saying.
Yeah, but they're both very beautiful, so I just thought it was funny.
We're going to talk about the next track on the album now, which is The Outsider. And how long would it take you to record, say, a song like The Outsider? Would it be in a day? And did you do all the tracks on the album?
Funny you say that, Hugh, because The Outsider is the one that I did 482 vocal takes for. Because it's
482?
This is because, number one, I had to record the song twice because I didn't like the first vocals. Number two, there are so many layers of backing vocals, it's insane. Number three, I was just being really pedantic and OCD. Liam nearly died on that track. I nearly killed him. So we co-produced that one together. And it's probably not even my best track, but I just had such a specific vision in my head and I wouldn't quit until I got it. And I did in the end, and you know, it is what it is now. It's quite a dark song. It's like the brother or sister of Obsessions.
The Outsider and Hermit the Frog, I guess both songs about kind of introspective tunes in a way. Not in sound, but in lyrics. Mm-hmm. Do you have to shut yourself away from the world before writing songs like these?
Well, Hermit the Frog was probably the first song that I ever wrote in a real like Marina and the Diamonds sense, because for about 2 years I wasn't very good, and then Hermit the Frog, it just all clicked and I thought, this is my direction.
How old were you when you wrote it?
21, yes, and I produced it on GarageBand, and I suddenly just felt like really free because I was making my tracks sound like they did in my head, and so that was a revelation. And then The Outsider I wrote last year, so relatively new song. It's probably more introspective than Hermit.
And what's the difference between writing it on your computer at home in your bedroom and going into a studio with Liam Howe to produce these tracks in proper multi-desk studio? I mean, is it mind-blowing getting to just put all your dreams on tape?
It's really satisfying at the end of it, but I didn't feel that different. I didn't feel scared or anything, probably because Liam and I click as characters. And he has a really nice studio in his house, so it's quite homey. I felt very relaxed there. But Hermit was really executed in the way that I hoped it would be, so I was very happy with the production.
Have you still got all the original demos of, say, a song like Hermit the Frog? Do you keep them all?
Yeah, I do. They're interesting to go back to.
scrapbook of songs.
Yeah.
And for the next album, I guess you're thinking about album number 2 already after the Family Jewels. I mean, were most of those songs already written, you know, in the past, like, or just maybe like small beginnings of ideas?
I'm honest, I've got 2 albums worth of songs that I could use. However, I'm a believer that you shouldn't rely on your past material and that you should continue creating better and better songs. I might use 1 or 2 of old songs, like there's one called Diamond Garden, which was never used. And then I've started writing a few new songs for the new one. Just so I just want to keep on writing. Maybe it isn't for a new album, but...
Do you ever get writer's block, or do you not believe in that?
I don't believe in that. Because Hollywood actually was a test to me. So my manager at the time had said, okay, Marina, sometimes you just got to sit down and write. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. That's not an artist. You know, inspiration just comes to an artist. You can't force it. And then one day I was just like, okay, Marina, just sit down and write a song. And Hollywood came out, and it's probably like the biggest chorus I've ever written. So it just goes to show.
We're going to listen to another new track off the album now. It's called Oh No. This is one of the last songs that you wrote before the album was recorded, right?
Yes. It was added after the album was mastered.
Okay. Why did you decide to add it so late to the batch of other songs?
Well, I didn't really mean to write it. I didn't know that I would write a song like that. And I was in LA and was very glad to get away from London at the time, because I was really winding myself up into a state, because I was thinking of failure at least once a minute, every hour of the day for around 5 months, and I was beginning to become quite paralysed by it. And then I went to LA and I suddenly just felt like, who cares? And I wrote Oh No, and that's what it's about thinking of failure so much that you think you're going to become a self-fulfilled prophecy.
Are you a strong believer in that?
Yes.
You think positive, good things will happen?
Absolutely, because, you know, even when I was talentless and 17, 18 years old, I just, every single time, whatever happened with auditions or other opportunities, I thought, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it, and I don't care what people say. And I really think that your mentality counts for a lot. Power of thoughts, you.
And there's a new producer on this track on the album as well.
Yeah.
Who's the producer?
The producer of Oh No is Greg Kirsten. I'd really admired his work for a long time, and seeing as I was in LA, I asked if we wanted to write together, and it came out really well. He's great, actually, very easy to work with. So I really like his production style as well.
And would you like to go somewhere like LA with one producer, maybe for a future album, and record an entire album, you know, in one location with one producer? Or do you like that magpie effect of picking different people?
I would, but I wouldn't write it in 1 month. It would have to be like, the majority would have to be my songs, because I don't want an album full of co-writes, for me personally. Yeah, I would have liked to have had one producer on this record, but I just think that the sound was too broad for having just one guy, and so I was lucky enough to work with Biff Stannard and Pascal and Liam and Greg.
We're nearing towards the end of the Family Jewels. Tell us about Rootless, Marina.
It's a song inspired by me moving around a lot throughout my life, because I've lived in London and Greece and Wales. I suppose it deals with feeling quite detached from everything, especially when you haven't got family nearby. I don't feel like that anymore, but I think 2 years ago I really did, because I wasn't signed and I wasn't really taken seriously. I felt like very lost at times, and I never thought that I wouldn't do it, or that I would give up, but I think I was very concerned with what people thought.
Did the fact that you didn't have somewhere to go, especially as an artist as well as a musician, to go and play that homecoming gig, or to play to that crowd of people who had always been there?
Yes.
Did that make it painful and difficult?
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, a lot of people who are balanced and stable in their lives have a community usually, and in places like London that doesn't occur too often, I don't think, and I really miss that. But because I moved from Wales when I was 16 and I went to Greece, I wasn't really friends with my group in Wales anymore. And yeah, it's very strange when you first move here. But I feel quite cemented here now, and I've got my own home and don't feel rootless anymore.
So will there be a track on the next album called Rooted?
Yeah.
Now that you are rooted.
Mixing
cake. Yeah. Are you
baking a cake?
Yeah. Are you domesticised like
yeah.
that? Yeah.
I like a clean home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like cooking.
To give the rootlessness a positive slant though, there's moving around, and you know, I'll see on Twitter that you know you've had enough, so you go into Sweden for a while, that kind of thing. Does that travelling around and kind of finding the world and finding yourself, does that inspire you to write songs? I
love that. I actually love feeling that I have nobody and that I feel really detached, because you feel free as a person, and everything feels slightly surreal. So I'm actually very well fitted for this career. I never get homesick. I love travelling, and I love meeting new people and visiting new places, so it suits me just fine.
Which leads us on to the next track on the Family Jewels, which is Numb. Can you tell us about Numb? Does that fit in with that rootlessness?
Well, I think it refers to a similar subject that Robot refers to, which is that ambitious, driven people are usually quite detached emotionally. And I feel that I have been, because I like working and I don't have time for relationships, and so you kind of don't prioritise them. But then obviously you're human and you need friendships and relationships, and so, you know, if you suddenly feel sad or like you've got nothing, that's probably why. But I think Numb is also about the sacrifices that you have to make to achieve what you want, and I am prepared to make them, and I was at the time.
Are there any topics, you know, from your own life that you wouldn't write about? Because you seem to write about pretty much everything that affects you. It's a remarkably honest album, and you know, that comes through in that it's genuine, isn't it?
Yeah.
If there's some things which are taboo for you, which you wouldn't put down?
No, there's nothing that I wouldn't write about, but perhaps the way that I write about it would be far more secretive, or I would conceal it with language. I suppose that's the job of a songwriter.
I see the last 3 tracks on the album, you know, it's kind of chronological, isn't it? From Rootless and Numb to Guilty, and the track that finishes The Family Jewels. Another sad song, probably the most personal on the album. You talk about kind of wishing that your father was there when you were growing up. Was that a hard song to write, or did you write it when you were younger?
No, it was the last track that I wrote, except for No. And for me, it solves the puzzle of the family jewels, and I was so relieved when I wrote it, because it was about realising that I had done something wrong, and I'm not a very good person when it comes to saying sorry or to admitting to being wrong, and so it was a big thing for me. It was inspired by a dream that I had when I was in New York, and it was awful. It was basically about me being at this posh dinner party, and I had to babysit these 5 extremely rare, endangered, technicoloured dogs, and they were all like rainbow.
This is the dream now?
Yeah. Right. No, this is real life.
What? Like the technicoloured dogs?
Yeah, and every time I picked one up, I would snap one of its legs, like on purpose, but not really meaning to, if that makes sense. And I'd break it, and I'd be like, oh my God, so I put it down, I'd pick another one up, and the same thing would happen. And I thought, right, what am I going to do with these dogs? I can go down to all the posh people and say, listen, I've just broken this dog's leg, and they're all going to hate me and think I'm a bad person. Or I can shove it in a cupboard. No one will know I've done it, but the animal will die, because I can't go to the vet and get it help.
What a problem,
And I chose to put it in the cupboard.
Where does that fit into the song, though? I didn't get that coming out of from the song.
Killed a dog so small and rare. Touched its technicolor hair.
Oh, right, sorry, right, okay.
It is, I mean, lyrically it's definitely in the song, but I suppose the chorus focuses on the real issue and the underlying meanings of it.
And the guilty part of that, not just about the dogs, but about other things in your life as well.
Yeah.
You always feel guilty about something.
Yeah. Oh God, I used to feel terribly guilty. I like all to a point where it was ridiculous. Like I would feel guilty about crossing a pedestrian crossing and like cars having to wait for me to get over the road. But I don't feel like that anymore at all. Yeah. I think it's just anxiety, I suppose.
It's a very powerful ending to the album.
Yeah.
And you know your voice sounds immense throughout it all as well. And there's another track as well, isn't it, which isn't on the album, which is the Family Jewels, a secret special track.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that song? Obviously the title track from the album.
Yes, well that kind of encapsulates the whole album in that, well actually I suppose it revealed why I created this album and it explained some of the feelings and why I was unhappy or feeling X, Y, Z. And it's very, very open lyrically, so people will be able to deduce what it's about extremely easily. But I'm glad that it's a secret track. We put it as a secret track because I didn't have time to produce it properly, and people might not want so many tracks on an album. But it's, yeah, I'm glad it's on there.
Have you got a favourite track from the Family Jewels? Or does it change constantly?
I would say Robot. Robot represents how I would like my career to be, and Hollywood represents the ethos of the album, I think, and of what I'm trying to do as a female artist.
If you had to pick one, though, which one would you go for?
Robot.
Would you go for Robot
Yeah,
every
definitely.
time?
Yeah.
It's a proper favourite as well, isn't it? A fan favourite.
Yeah, it is actually. I think it's a fan favourite.
And as things develop for you, you know, with your musical career, and you kind of go from playing to 20 people to 20,000 people, you know, are you pleased that everything's going the way you wanted to in terms of the fans and all the diamonds who were coming to the earlier gigs? They must all be very pleased for you.
Definitely. I'm so pleased that I had this route, and you know, I'm 24. I'm not like a very, very young teenage artist, but I'm happy that I'm not, because I really did do it the hard way, and the way that I had always hoped that I would do it, i.e. not getting successful in like 1 minute flat because of something else. So it's going to be really interesting to see how things develop, but I will always have a very soft spot for the early diamonds who used to come to my blog and, you know, take part in debates and all that kind of thing. But hopefully that will continue on some kind of level.
Well, you've always looked after the diamonds, and now the diamonds are looking after Marina.
Yeah.
So it's 50-50.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for talking to me, Marina,
Cool,
and
thank you.
congratulations on the Family Jewels.
Thank you.